I am all about saving money on art supplies, which is why uh, about the only time I go out and buy a pre-made rubber stamp. This one, the price was $13.40 for one stamp. I got it for $4 at the thrift store. And you know what? I've maybe used this twice. Um, I much prefer designing and cutting out my own designs on stamps. And you can do this super cheap. Couple different options. You can stock up on pink erasers when it's back to school time. These are a couple that I just carved out a few years ago out of pink erasers. This is a pink carving block. It's a super easy to carve kind of a rubber. And my favorite is Fun Foam, which you'll find in the kids department, especially if it's the Fun Foam that has the self-adhesive backing. This is the super fun one to use. So I'm going to start with that. And I've just got some scrap blocks of wood, but you can also use, scraps of cardboard. Uh, they're sturdy enough to hold up for a while. And so I'm just gonna trim this down so that it'll fit on my little piece of wood. And then I start thinking about how I would use something. And one of my favorite uses is going to be just some random squares and rectangles. And so I'm just going to cut this into some random square rectangles and attach them to my little piece of wood. Now, like I said, this is the self-adhesive. If you can't find the self-adhesive Fun Foam or craft foam or whatever they call it in your neck of the woods, you could use something like matte medium or glue to attach it to your wood or your cardboard backing. Just want something to hold these in place so that when you do stamp with them, you can do it, multiple times. And I love the homemade look of things that, don't quite line up. The squares aren't all even. I think this is going to make a really fun design. So that's it. That's number one. We'll come back and stamp with that in just a minute. Another thing we can do with the Fun Foam is, let's say we want to cut a house shape out of this, and cut a little door out of it. And you can just use scissors, or you can pull out a craft knife and get more detailed. I'm going to stick this one down to another piece of wood. And that in itself is a fun little shape to stamp. But another thing we can do with the Fun Foam and just a ballpoint pen is we can add Just drawing right into the fun foam, we can add some texture design that should show up when we stamp it. So just a little extra something. I'm pressing into the foam with a ballpoint pen. I'll do a little window here. Just something like that, because that is a little bit textured. May or may not show up depending on what kind of ink or paint we use with it. And then we've got this guy. These are really easy to carve. So are the pink erasers. I just don't happen to have a spare pink eraser that's not carved at the moment. But I'm going to just take a chunk of this pink, and it cuts that easily with a utility knife. And then if you've got a linoleum block carving set, and they have different kinds of tips and stuff, you could draw your design on the stamp and then carve it all out. Or what I like to do is just fun little marks. Just carve some interesting little marks into my stamp so that when I'm making collage papers and adding to mixed media, I have something that is a little more unique than what you're going to find at the craft store. So something as simple as that. I'll show you how cool that looks. So let me get some ink and some paint, and we will put some of these onto, I've got some just plain jelly printed papers that I'm going to stamp onto. And let's get some paint and some ink. So I've got just a Ranger archival ink pad, and so I could just take this and I could just stick it in the ink pad, ink it up good, and I'll show you how fun this could be. So just like that, and you know, it's your very own design. You can create patterns with that, you know, just do some fun stuff with it. So that's with ink. I'm going to grab some paint now. Let's see, a little purple paint. And you can, you know, dip your stamps right in the paint, or I like to use makeup sponges. Just get that loaded up with the paint, dab it on my paper plate, and go back to this one. I want to start with this. This is my squares fun foam on a wooden block. So I'm going to get this loaded up with paint. And we can also use this on the jelly plate. So I'm going to do this onto this piece of paper. And there we go. You've got that unique, one of a kind, you designed it kind of thing. Um, let me go with a bright pink here. We'll see how this works. And again, with the makeup sponge, load up this one. Sometimes my pen lines work, sometimes they're not deep enough, not pronounced enough to transfer. So we'll give this a try. My little house-shaped stamp. Very faintly you can see where these lines are. Very faintly. Not the best pink on pink. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and load that up with some purple, see how that works. Do this on this paper. And you see one of the little lines transferred pretty well. The rest of them probably weren't deep enough. You see that one's filling up with the paint. But we've got this cool house shape, and that's always a fun addition. And I'm going to go ahead and put some paint on my little pink rubber one here. Go ahead and stamp that. And that's always fun. And do some, and I can also, because I'm applying this with a sponge, I don't have to have the same colors on the entire stamp, so I can alternate. And go ahead and put this on this one. That's kind of fun. And I've got a couple that I made a long time ago on pink erasers. I'm just going to go ahead and get those loaded with some paint, see how they turn out. Little triangles. See, those come out pretty nice. And a little bit of purple paint left. We'll go ahead and use this one. And go ahead and put that here. Quick and easy. So we've got some unique one-of-a-kind stamps that we can use over and over again using fun foam or the pink rubber carvable stuff, or even just pink school erasers. And so now I'm going to make a little collage out of my unique one-of-a-kind papers. Grab my scissors and a glue stick. this guy down. Paint's not quite dry, but we're all about making a mess here, so. Just grab a scrap piece of paper, press that down so I'm not getting paint all over myself. There we go. And then I'm going to add some of these little guys on the book page. Something like that. Trim my edges a little. And there's a little mixed media collage created with my own homemade rubber stamps.